Now, as we've been reporting, the Syrian government and rebel leaders are set to resume talks in Geneva on Monday. Expectations are low ahead of those negotiations. For more on this, we're joined now by Peter Bechtold, former Director of Near East and North Africa Studies at the U.S. State Department. He joins us via Skype from Portland in the state of Oregon. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Well, as we heard there from our correspondent, there's little hope of a breakthrough at these talks that are going to be taking place in Geneva. So what do you expect will come out of this?
Well, I expect there to be further baby steps. I think it is unrealistic to expect a breakthrough. When you have such violence and such intense fighting, which has produced so much hatred on both sides, it is actually a success story that they came together face to face, even though the rebels didn't want to, and to agree on allowing some relief to get to the city of Homs. And one can only hope that there's more to come.
Well, just on that point, it would appear that the immediate need right now is to extend and maintain that ceasefire that was agreed to in the first round of talks. The two sides already agreed to that. I mean, what are hopes that they could extend this, that it could hold, that they could get more people out?
Well, you know, it's very difficult to say when you're not there right in the middle of it, and very few people are. But I do think that the pressure from the international community is considerable. The West, unfortunately, presents the situation as being primarily about transition, and I think that is a mistake. The highest priority should be on relief to those in the greatest needs. And there's the city of Homs, of course, but there's also Hama, Aleppo, and Damascus, the four large cities that are all overwhelmingly Sunni Muslim.
Okay, 2 points you mentioned there that I want to ask you about. One is international pressure. The other is the West's insistence on a transitional government. First, international pressure. What kind of role is Russia playing in this?
Well, right now, I think Russia is completely focused on the Sochi Olympic Games. It's a very large show for the government, and everyone is very excited. So one cannot expect much from Russia at this moment. But behind the scenes, I'm sure they continue what they've been doing before, which is to counsel for moderation.
And let me get to the other point, which is the transitional government. This has been a red line, according to the Syrian government. They say it's a line that they're never going to cross. They're never going to talk about a transitional government that excludes Bashar al-Assad. So why do you believe they're at these talks if the bottom line, as far as the West is concerned, is a transitional government?
Well, I think that it was necessary, perhaps, to promise the rebels to show up that there would be a transition, even though tactically I think it was a mistake, because why would the Assad government even come to a conference when their departure is a precondition? And we have to remember that it is now almost 3 years from March of 1911 that the rebels have demanded the departure of the Assad regime before they were even willing to talk. And now they've come a long ways. They've agreed to talk even though the departure is not on the table, or it should not be on the table. What should be on the table is humanitarian relief. And eventually, this will lead to more cooperation and make possible a future government.
Right. So in a sense, then, does it surprise you that the Syrians, and I mean the Syrian government, has come back to the table?
I don't think so. I think that not only has Russia played an important role here, Iran has, and the government of Iraq is also on the side of Iran and of the Syrian government. And so I think the players in the Middle East are aware that it really isn't about dictatorship versus democracy. It is really about Sunni versus Shia, and to some extent about ideology, Ba'ath Party, which is secular, versus religiously oriented groups. And so they're sorting this out. And I think it is a mistake in the West to focus only on the departure of the Assad regime. we may want to keep him there.
Okay, so we're going to have to leave it there. Peter Bechtold, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.